Welcome to the first episode of Going Places for 2021. It's been a really long time, but we're back because it's Earth Day and we got inspired. I'm Beth Bartel. I'm now talking to you from Houghton, Michigan.
I'm Wendy Bohan, and I am talking to you from outside of Washington, D.C.
And we have some fun facts for you today about earthquakes and volcanoes. I will start off. Did you know that there are usually around 40 to 50 volcanoes erupting on our planet, active on our planet at any given time? So when we see multiple erupting volcanoes in the news, are they connected? No, we actually just happen to hear about them. So some make the news and some don't.
Yep. Let me see something about earthquakes. Ooh, the San Andreas Fault is moving at about 55 millimeters per year. That's about the rate that your fingernails grow. So LA is actually sliding up towards San Francisco. Commute's getting shorter all the time.
All the time, all the time. Count those inches year by year by year. So did you know that about 80% of our planet's surface is volcanic in origin? That may
What?
seem, I know, right? Sounds really improbable until you think about how much of our planet is covered by ocean. And pretty much all that ocean is underlain by volcanic rock called basalt.
That's so cool. I have to come up with one that's equally good. Okay. Most earthquakes around the world occur at less than 50 miles depth beneath the surface, but the deepest earthquakes occur along subduction zones. That's where one tectonic plate is diving down underneath another. And those earthquakes can get really deep, like 750 kilometers. That's like 400 miles below the surface.
That's super deep, super deep.
Right? So deep. We're so
Right,
deep.
because that helps us to map out subduction zones and actually see where we are, where they are, because we look at the earthquakes.
That's right.
Super cool. So a lot of people wonder why some volcanic eruptions are explosive while others aren't. Some volcanoes ooze lava while some volcanoes explode big time and throw a bunch of ash into the air. Well, this depends on the silica content. So it's really about the chemical content in that magma that comes to the surface. Why does that matter though? It's all about gas. It's all about gas. Can the gas escape or not? If it escapes easily, the lava can ooze. But if it's like held up in there, like a bottle of shaken soda, it just has to get out all at once. And that's what causes explosive eruptions.
Trying hard not to make a potty joke right now. Okay, changing the subject. The largest earthquake ever recorded in the United States happened in Alaska in 1964 on Good Friday. It was a magnitude 9.2. The largest earthquake ever recorded anywhere in the world occurred in Chile along one of those subduction zones. That was a magnitude 9.5 that occurred in 1960.
So those subduction zones are also really, 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 really great places for volcanoes. Chile has a lot of volcanoes. Alaska also has a ton of volcanoes, both along those subduction zones. And one cool thing about earthquakes at volcanoes is that they basically are like write little signatures and tell us little stories. So each earthquake represents a different thing. So we can look at volcano seismicity or earthquakes in volcanoes and see from how they look on our seismic records what they are actually telling us. So they'll tell us like, hey, I'm breaking rock, or hey, I am magma moving through a conduit system down here. And they each look different on the seismic record.
Yeah, that's awesome. Earthquakes are so helpful. Speaking of earthquakes again, circle back around. The places in the United States that have the least earthquakes. You want to guess what the 4 states are that have the least earthquakes? They actually had no earthquakes between 1975 and 1995. Guesses?
One starts with
Florida,
Florida,
North Dakota,
North Dakota.
Iowa, and Wisconsin. So the states that have the least earthquakes of any states in the US are North Dakota and Florida.
And we are in neither of those states.
Yeah.
Neither.
Okay.
Did you know that, right, there are 3 ways to describe the state of a volcano. One is active, like the volcano is active. It is, doesn't mean necessarily that it's erupting, but it's sending us signals that it's active. There are hydrothermal systems, or we can see earthquakes. It's doing something basically. Another is that, and that means also that it's erupted within the recent period of time, which for geology means, a lot older than you and me, even older than you and me. Um, another state is dormant, which means volcano could still erupt. It's not doing stuff now, but it could still do something. And then extinct is when a volcano is donezo, when it really it just doesn't have a magmatic source anymore. In order to have a volcano, we have to have some hot material coming up underneath it. And if there's not hot material anymore, hmm,
It's all chilled out.
extinct like the dinosaurs. Done.
Yeah. Although the chickens are dinosaurs, so
Good.
dino nuggets are really just eating
My goodness.
actual dinosaurs, but they're chickens.
But they're chickens.
So
Chicken.
dinosaurs taste like chicken. Anyway, let
Happy-
me see.
Oh yeah, you
When
get one more.
Yeah, when you listen to the news, they talk all the time about the epicenter of the earthquake, and that's an important metric for us looking at maps and things like that to understand kind of where the earthquake started. But the earthquake doesn't actually start at the epicenter. It starts at a point directly below the epicenter called the hypocenter. So every earthquake starts deep inside of the earth. And by deep, I mean like somewhere below the surface. So when you hear the epicenter, just recognize that that's the point on top of the surface of the earth above where the earthquake actually started, below the surface.
Yeah, I think that is so helpful to know because we think of earthquakes as like this one point on the surface of our planet, which it's not. We have to think in three dimensions, and that's the great thing about geoscience is that we get to do that. We get to think about what's deep within our earth as well as on top, and also our family members, which sound like they may be knocking in the background.
Always. Pandemic parenting is a thing, y'all.
Yeah, so it turns
All
out that a
right.
year later, here we are, still pandemic everythinging.
All right. So happy Earth Day, everybody.
Happy Earth Day! Thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you next time because there'll be a next time.
Always a next time. Mwah.
Great day on the planet. I have to just roll in because I have to find the record button.